Well, I got another video review for you this week. So I had a company reach out to me, never heard of them before other than seeing them on Amazon. The company's called Proyama, and this company is known for making like knockoffs of like power equipment and things like that. I don't really know what to expect. They asked me if I'd do a review for them, and I said sure, but it's going to be an honest review. So as you can see, the box come, and I gotta say I was pleasantly surprised. I figured probably one end of the power head would be sticking outside of the box, but actually this box come inside of one or two other boxes. So this is like the second or third box that this thing come in. So if you're worried about getting it and it being damaged, that was one thing that I was impressed with, the packaging. So I've already opened it up and looked at it, but that's as far as I got. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and spin this around where you guys can see it a little bit better. This one here is the model number PBC520, and that stands for Proyama Brush Cutter 52cc. Alright, so I just wanted to run through some of the stuff that it comes with, and I'm going to run it through it pretty quick. So first things first, it comes with a nice harness. I was surprised. I thought this would be a lot cheaper than it is, but it's a nice padded harness. I figured the straps would be really thin, and I figured they would probably be junk, but it's actually pretty decent. And the plastic right here, pretty flexible and thick, so nothing wrong with the harness at all. Now moving on, it comes with these little ear protection, and to be honest with you, the package seems very cheap and flimsy, but I mean, we'll open them up real quick and see if they're any good. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I mean, you can tell they're not the highest quality ones, but they're not crazy ridiculous. They actually work, so that's a plus. And then let's see, got some weed eater string. This is let's see, it just says trimmer line, not really a name brand on there, and it's kind of on the smaller side. I don't know if that's an 8.0. I don't think that's a 0.95, but it's kind of on the smaller side. And it was cheap looking, to be honest with you. You'll probably, if you want some good trimmer line, you'll have to probably go get some name brand stuff. But who knows? Then you got a couple different cutters here. This has got like the chainsaw cutter right there for cutting down little saplings and things like that. Probably nothing bigger than, you know, a couple inches in diameter. And then you got a saw blade, the same thing with these. You can cut down saplings and grass and underbrush and things like that. And then you've got a brush cutter here. That's a 3-bladed brush cutter. And then you've got your trimmer head. And it actually comes with line on it, so you don't have to spool it up right off the bat. Then you got your guard. And I figured this would be flimsy. It's actually pretty sturdy, pretty well-made plastic on that. And so it's got your cutter on it right there. Set that aside. It even comes with some goggles. That's hilarious. I'll never ever use these, but I mean, if you don't wear glasses, these would probably work. I mean, they're pretty decent. Then you've got a little gas and oil container. You put your oil on this side, put your gas on this side. Now, what this is used for is, let's say you want to have some extra gas and for your brush cutter, but you don't want to carry a gas can with you. You can always hook a carabiner onto this, hook it onto your belt or something like that, and that way you're not having to, you know, carry a whole gas can and try to keep up with that. It's already on your side. So I could see where that could be useful. It does seem like it's pretty well made. I thought it would be flimsy as hell and not no good, but actually pretty decent. Shocked. And then you got some information here. Yeah, part of the warranty stuff. And then they give you some gloves. Now, you know as well as I do, these are probably not going to be very good quality. Yeah, they're not. They're kind of cheap. They got that rubbery feel on the bottom of them. Yeah, I guess they could serve their purpose just for some cheap gloves. And then you got the power head right here, and it's all wrapped up. And I gotta say, man, this thing's pretty heavy. Then you got a toolkit here. You've got a wrench and some Allen wrenches and some bolts. Then you got this piece here. This is the weed eater attachment, and I bet you those bolts were to hook the guard onto this right here. So yeah, let me go ahead and get it all put together, and we'll come back once I got it all assembled, and I'll show you more about the power head. All right, I said there was some hardware in that little tool bag, and what it was for is to connect the little guard here to the trimmer head, and you're just gonna put those 4 bolts in there, and very simple. And they have an Allen head on them. They're little cap screw bolts. So I went ahead and I tightened these 4 up, and with this Allen wrench that was supplied. And then if you'll notice right here on the side of the trimmer head, that is your opening there for a screw where you can grease the trimmer head. And so before I went to use it, I figured I would go ahead and check it and see if there's, you know, any kind of grease in it. Now, you know, most of these, I know like on the Echoes, it uses a wrench, but this one here just uses the Allen head. But anyways, that's where you're supposed to grease, is right down in this little opening here. I can't find my little grease pump right now, or I'd grease it. I don't want to make this video no 2 hours long, so you just put a couple little squirts of grease down in there, if you can fit that much in there, and then put the screw back in there, and that's what lubricates that bearing there in the trimmer head. Now, right out of the box, it comes with this little silver cap on it, and this is pretty much set up for you know, hooking up the brush cutters and all that. Now, when you want to take this off, what you want to do is just take this scrunch and hook it onto that nut there, and then you can see right down in that hole, it lines up with another hole, and you can, once you get them lined up, you stick that Allen key in there just like that, and that holds it where you can loosen the nylock nut. Now keep in mind, it is a left-hand thread, and once you get that pulled off there, then you can remove this there's like a little star washer on there first after you take the nut off, and then there's also the little chrome piece to hold it on. I'm gonna set it aside, put that star washer on there like that, and then right in here you've got this little metal washer, and then you've got this piece here. You got your gear and your bearing. That bearing right there is what I was talking about, that little side screw where you pull it out to lubricate with grease. That's the bearing I was referring to. And then this just goes over top of it, and then it just fits up in place like that right there. Now you can see there's an opening right there. You can see it's notched out there, and then there's a hole right there in that little piece, and that's where I was talking about. You can slide this Allen key in there, and it kind of just locks it in place, so you can tighten everything up. And then this piece here, you know which way is right and wrong when you put it on, because you can see that it's recessed. It's got like a little recessed area in there, and then this is raised up, and so that it would fit on there like that. And then you would go ahead and put on whichever brush cutter you want to put on, and then put this piece on top of it, and then tighten everything down. So I'm going to start by putting this brush cutter on, and as you see that it's got the direction of the arrows of which it's going to turn. And if you flip this over, you can see right there where I'm pointing, there's an arrow. So you can see right there where I'm pointing, there's an arrow right there, and that lets you know that it's going to be spinning in the right direction. So you're going to go ahead and stick this on like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put this on there like that, and then you're going to put your nylock nut on there, and keep in mind it's left-hand thread. Now, just to point it out one more time, you can see that that arrow is pointing that way, and then you can see that the arrow is pointing down that way, so you know that when it spins, it's going to be spinning just like this, and so there's no confusion there. I like that. And then right here, once you get that nylock tightened up, then they give you a cotter pin that you can slide in there, and then take and bend it back. That way, you know, it helps guarantee it's not going to come loose. Even though it is a nylock, it's just going to help guarantee that it's not going to come loose, and and hurt you. So next, we're going to put the handle on, and I noticed whenever I went to pull the handle out of this aluminum piece, I was pulling these steel bolts out of this aluminum piece here. The bolts were, you know, pretty tight coming out, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do a preventative measure and put a little bit of anti-seize lubricant right there on the bolts, and then right there where the bolts thread down into that aluminum housing, I'm just gonna put a little dab of anti-seize down in there to keep them bolts from galling up. If you've never experienced that, you know, it's a pain in the butt, and that's what can cause them to snap off. So I'm just going to take a preventative measure. You don't have to do it, but you know, I'm going to. And then right here, it looks like there's some little knurled area right there on that bar, and I guess that's where they want you to mount it at. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to tightening these up, and then I'll come back to you once I've got it all tightened up. All right, so I put the anti-seize in there, and it seemed like the bolts went in there a lot better. Didn't seem like they were catching nearly as bad. So I think the anti-seize is a good touch. Next, you want to take and you want to secure your line to the actual shaft. The way that it hooks on there is you just kind of spread it apart, and it snaps on that. And then right in here, you've got a little keeper for the wiring, so it stays nice and out of your way. So gotta say, the plastic on this feels like it's really solid. I mean, literally, I mean, I don't know if this later on down the line, if the sun will get to it and cause it to be brittle, but for right now, I mean, it feels pretty strong. Now I can bend it a little bit there on the end, but it doesn't feel like it's flimsy at all. So only time will tell, guys. Now, as far as the handle and the throttle and everything, the buttons, seems like it's pretty good. Now, I will say that the trigger, I mean, I've got pretty big hands. My fingers ain't very long, but I've got bigger hands, but the trigger's way on out there. So if you got tiny little hands, then it might be a little bit harder for you to grip that. But you know, if you got man hands, shouldn't be any problem. So anyways, looks pretty good. So I just wanted to get you guys some weights on this thing. I just wanted to measure it with just the bare power head, with nothing attached to the end of it, and there's no gas in it. So just, you see, it weighs 16.9 pounds. So this particular brush cutter is set up where you can put different attachments and things on there, and so I'm going to go ahead and add this brush cutter attachment. Now, it does come with this little rubber cap, and I would hold on to this, so when it's not in use, you can put this on there, and it keeps trash and stuff from getting down in that tube right in there. So definitely hold on to that piece. I'm going to set it aside, and the way that it goes on here to hook it up is you want to kind of loosen this. It's already been loosened, and then you've got this little piece right here. This is like a little spring-loaded piece, so when you slide it in there, it kind of locks itself in place. You might have to twist it and play around with it to get it to lock, but it should. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. It locked in place. I don't know if you guys heard that click, but now it won't pull out. And the way that you get it to pull out is you just lift up on that, and it'll slide back out. Now, if you want to push it back in, there it goes. It locks in place. I like that feature. I'm actually an Echo kind of guy. That's all I've ever owned is Echo. I have had a couple of steel products, but I just like Echo because it's affordable and stuff. But I wish they would make theirs that easy and put that little spring-loaded clip on there. That's pretty neat. So I am liking that. And then next, what you want to do is tighten this up, and this just helps tighten it up here on the bottom and make these two pieces come together and make it all in one piece and keep it all tightened up. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, one reason why I wanted this brush cutter is simply because, you know, I've got a Echo SRM 230 brush cutter, and it's getting on up there, probably 20 years old or close to it, and I wanted something that's still got some power to it. My old Echo, I've worn it out, but it's been a good product. But I seen this one here had a huge motor on it. It was 52 cc's, So I thought, man, with that motor, it should have some good power to it. So truthfully, guys, I figure for 250 bucks, you know, that'd be a pretty decent if this works good. So I don't know. We're gonna test it out here in just a minute and see how good it works. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and get you another weight on this with the power head and the brush cutter and everything all in one, so you guys will know just how much it weighs. All right, so here we are, 20.6 pounds. So I gotta say that's about right on where I was thinking it would be, because I seen in a lot of the information online it said one time it said 19 pounds, one time it said 20 pounds. Well, it's right in line of, you know, where it's supposed to be. There's only really one thing to do. Let's put some gas in this thing and test it out. Now I'll go ahead and let you know I'm running 93 octane. I know the Echo stuff that I've got, it said to run 89 or 93, I believe it was. I believe it was 89 or higher. So I went by there and got some 93, and then I'm going to be running the Echo Power Blend in there. So, you know, I'm going to give it a fighting chance of being able to, you know, be a good product. I don't know how it runs. I can't tell you. I've never had gas in this thing. It's brand new. So I'm going to load it up, and now it does recommend 50-to-1 mixture. I am going to recommend for the first tank or two to mix it a little bit stronger than that, just simply because so it gets lubrication to all those metal parts, and you know, it's you know, that's what I like to do. Now don't go crazy and put way too much, because you could probably foul that spark plug out. But we'll go ahead and get the gas in there, and we're gonna see how it does. Stay tuned, guys. All right, so I got my 93 octane and my Echo oil put in here. I didn't fill it all the way to the top, because this thing does have a really big gas tank. It says that it should last about an hour, you know, with that gas tank. Now before you crank it, I'm gonna go ahead and hit that primer bulb till I start seeing that fuel start working its way up. There it goes right there. You can see right there the fuel made its way. Give it another pump, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull up on choke, and down should turn it off. So we went ahead and got the harness adjusted, yep, to a Fat Man. It even fits on a Fat Man. And I gotta say, it's pretty comfortable. Once you get it all adjusted out, it does take a lot of the weight off of the weed eater and helps distribute it to your shoulders and your back and stuff. But you know, it does feel pretty comfortable. I would hate to have to swing this thing without no kind of harness on there. This thing would be really heavy. But once you got it adjusted out, and then I went back and adjusted the handles, and we got the angle to where it's going to be comfortable for me. Now keep in mind, I said in the very beginning of the video that I thought the harness was really high quality, and I still stand behind that. It's got this little quick disconnect right here, and if you want to come out of this thing really quick, let's just say, you know, one time I was out doing some weed eating, and I got in a hornet's nest, and I ended up throwing like a $300 Echo weed eater down. It rolled down the side of a mountain, and it didn't break it, but I wished, you know, if I'd have been wearing a harness, it would have been hard to get out of that thing. But with this, it just comes off really quick in case you need to drop it and take off running. You never know. The way that you put it back on is simple. Just snaps back in place. Now, can't speak for longevity. I have never used this before, but I do have to say that is a pretty neat feature. All right, so the way that you're gonna start this brush cutter is you want to push this down into the start position. To turn it off, you want to push it up. And I gotta say, the little snap button there or slide button there seems to work pretty good. Sounds like it locks in there secure. And then you got a little safety feature. You got to mash this down and squeeze that trigger to give it throttle. So in order to start it, you want to push it down in the start position. You want to prime it like I've already done, and then you want to push up on the choke, and then it should take, you know, a few pulls to start it. Now some of you guys will probably want to set it on the ground. I'm an old man, so I'm gonna set it up here on these stumps. Put my foot there and rest. Yep, started on the second pull. That's a good sign. Of course, I never been cranked before. That's pretty good. Pretty impressed with that. That was literally like 4 pulls and it started up and ran. Alright, so next I'm going to take this and hook it on. Just like that. And come on down here to the edge with it. I can go ahead and tell you right now, this thing's got some power to it. It's a lot stronger than my Echo, I can tell you that. Come on down here. Well, I gotta say, it made short work of these pieces right here. You can see those are about probably close to 1 inch in diameter. I mean, I didn't even have to rev up on it. That's what I said. This thing's got some good power. Like I said, I've got the Echo, I think it's a PAS 225, and then I've got the SRM 230, and that was the big boy. And like I said, I've got a brush cutter on it, and it don't cut that good. I mean, I have to rev it up and then kind of dive into it so it don't die off. But I mean, this thing is pretty powerful. But as far as the 3-blade, man, it cut right through them little saplings like it was nothing. All right, so you guys seen this thing cut with the brush cutter attachment. I gotta say, that's the strongest weed eater I've ever, brush trimmer weed eater I've ever used. And like I said, that's one reason why I wanted it, because it had such a big motor on it. I figured it would be strong. Now, it is heavy, but with the harness, it makes it doable. So that is a good thing. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and put the trimmer head on there. I'm probably not going to test this because I'm sure it's going to work just like that brush cutter. And I don't have any real big saplings. You've seen that's about as high as I got. I keep mine sprayed for the most part. But I believe this one here is just going to probably screw on. So I'm just going to put it on there like that. And then this should just screw on to the unit. So that didn't take long. That should work just fine. Just screws right on there. That other one pulls right off, and that one fits right up there. So we'll take it back down there and see if we can knock down some grass. Now, I don't expect much out of the trimmer line, just because it is kind of thin and it's Chinese, but we'll see if it does good. You'll be able to tell if it's got power or not. Now, one of the main things that I always noticed with some of the smaller Echo stuff that I've used is, you know, when you start getting in some of that deep grass, you know, where it's really tall, a lot of times when you'll be hitting that grass, you'll have a lot of grass wrap up around the trimmer head right there, and you'll have to stop what you're doing and clean that out. I'm hoping by getting one with a bigger motor, I can power through it and not have to clean that out so often. So if I am in some deeper brush or deeper grass, I don't have to keep doing it over and over again. It gets pretty annoying. So that's one reason why I wanted one with a stronger motor. So let's see if it can cut through it. All right, now I put the trimmer head on there. I've not started it. I did flip this upside down while putting that trimmer head on there, so I don't know if it flooded it or not. Hopefully not, but let's see if it'll start up. There we go. It smoked a little bit when I started it up, but that's normal. noticed when I've been cutting with this, I hadn't been winding it up and giving it a lot of throttle. I've just been giving it just a little bit, and it's been cutting through there no problem. Now you can see some of those heavier pieces of brush that we cut earlier with a brush cutter. I'm going to try to cut through it with just some trimmer line. Now I know it's going to eat up the trimmer line a lot quicker, but let's see if it's got the power to cut through it. See it cut through this. It spanked it up pretty good. You can see it. You give it a nice spanking, but it was able to cut through it. And again, I didn't, romp on the throttle to have to get it to do it. I mean, it did a pretty good job. Now right here, you can see this is a really green spot in my yard. I guess this is the leaching lines from my septic tank. And this is the thickest part of grass that I have in the yard. Now it's not very tall, but the actual grass is really thick. So I'm going to go ahead and hit on this and see if I can knock it down. You guys seen that it cut it down pretty good, didn't have any problems, and again, I wasn't romping on it trying to max the RPMs out. But let's see what it does if I lay on it and just give it a lot of RPMs and try to cut it. Watch this. Truthfully, I think it was overkill. You don't really need that much RPM. This thing's got the power to cut through it. It don't bog down for just grass. But you gotta say, so far I'm pretty impressed with it. Pretty impressed. Alright guys, so my personal thoughts on this brush cutter weed eater is, if you live in a subdivision and don't have much land, then obviously I wouldn't go with the one that has the larger CC engine like this one here. But if you live out in the country like me, and sometimes things get growed up and you've got some taller weeds and some thicker brush, then this would be what you would want, just simply because it's got a lot of freaking power. And I'm not just saying that, literally, I don't work for these people. I don't have any skin in the game. This is an honest review. And anyways, they messaged me and asked me if I would be interested in reviewing it. And They didn't give me any kind of script. All they asked me was to show an unboxing, and so that's what I did. And so as far as that, I gotta say, things really strong. I was really shocked. This is a lot stronger than the SRM 230 Echo that I have. It's a lot stronger. So now as far as the attachments, I'm not sure if it'll fit with some of the Echo attachments or not. Now, just for kicks, I went ahead and tested it to see if this Echo hedge trimmer attachment would fit onto the Proyama, and I couldn't get it to work. I guess the little splines are different down there on that little steel shaft that spins on the inside, and I couldn't get them to mate up to one another. So, you know, that's one bad thing. It won't use your other attachments. But I do know that Proyama does have a kit where it has, you know, like a hedge trimmer like this, and then they have one that has like a little pole saw. It's got a little mini chainsaw blade on it that goes around, and those things work great if you've never had one of those. Those are amazing. But I know that Proyama does carry a kit that has all those, along with all the attachments that you see here, the weed whacker and the brush cutters and all that. Now obviously it's going to be more money, but you know, with just what you've seen here that I used today, it was still under like $250. It's like $248, and so you know, I don't think that's too bad. Now keep in mind, you know, compare apples to apples. You know, you can't go to Home Depot and see an Echo and say, oh, that thing's $225, and say, oh man, that's better than this. You know, it has its pluses and minuses. You know, the Echo has a 5-year warranty, where this one, you know, probably doesn't have much of a warranty on it. But you know, you also got to remember that the size motor on this versus the ones that you'll find at like Home Depot and the big box stores, you won't find one this big. You'll have to probably go to like a steel dealer or something like that, and to find one with a motor this big, you're gonna probably pay $700-800, all the way up to over $1,000 for a weed eater. So, you know, guys, this is not for the everyday homeowner. This is for, you know, a guy that lives out in the country who has, you know, maybe some cattle, has a fence line that gets growed up, you know, a guy that's wanting to clear out some land and things like that. And so that's what this would be used for. So again, I cannot speak for long term. This is not a long-term review. You see me unbox it, but I can say that everything that I played around with did feel like it was of good quality. Now, one thing that I need to mention to you guys is right in here. I'm gonna set it up right here. You can see where your harness hooks in. You can see that that's metal, and you know, you got to be careful with that. Now, I said earlier it was very strong, and it is, but you know, over time, moving and twisting around and around, you know, you might wear that plastic down, and if it ever breaks, you know, it's going to be a mess. You'll have to figure out some other way to attach it to the pole directly, unless they can sell you a replacement piece of it, you know. So if Proyama's watching my video, that would be one of the things that I would say to, you know, improve upon on the next weed eater. Make this you know, metal, so it's stronger, or reinforce it with metal so it's stronger. But you know, if you take care of it and don't throw it down and act like a jackass, then this should last you a pretty good while, even with that plastic piece on there. So anyways, before I go, I'm gonna go ahead and see if it'll crank one more time. You know, let's go ahead and try it. And that's, yeah, this is just one of the main things, guys. I hate a weed eater that I have to sit there and pull on and on and on. And I've been sitting here talking to you guys, and let's just see if this thing will crank back. Things are going good. All right, so I appreciate you guys watching this video. Again, this here is on the Proyama brush cutter, and if you're interested in it, now I am an Amazon affiliate. I don't try to hide that from anybody. You know, I get these products and I review them so you guys don't have to. So, you know, if you're in the market for a brush cutter, check this one out. If you get it and you don't like it, send it back. It ain't no skin off my back. But if you get it and you try it out, I think you'll really like it. Now keep in mind, when you get it, Don't just pick it up and say, oh, that's too heavy. Put the harness on first, get it adjusted right, get the handlebars adjusted right, and then make up your mind after you use it, and then send it back if you don't like it. But till then, guys, I think you'd be happy with it, and I appreciate you watching. Until next time, I appreciate it. Check out that link in the description down below. Like I said, I am an Amazon affiliate, and I make just a few bucks off of it. It don't cost you guys more, and Prime Day is coming up here in just a few days, so make sure you check that out. Amazon Prime Day, I believe the 15th through the 17th of July. So see ya. Thanks for watching.